Welcome to the Fitness Competitor's Guide. Today we'll be going over my favorite topic, handstands. If you don't want to watch this whole video, the long story short is that one way to train your handstands is to put yourself in positions that will pass through your handstand. Do it nice and slow and try to control whatever that movement is, and eventually you'll find yourself actually be able to control the handstand. So let's kind of break down what really is going on in your handstand. So essentially, your hands are going to be responsible for countering whichever direction your body might be leaning toward. So if I am going too far this way, then I need to be pressing in with my fingers and maybe my knuckles and pressing against that movement. Pressing against and pushing and resisting the pull of gravity to go over my hands. On the other hand, if I am a little too far back, then I need to be pulling in with the my wrist extensors. So I need to be, I don't know if you can see this, but I will need to be actively trying to pull this in. Imagine there's a little string and you're trying to pull that string to pull your whole body so that it's centered over your hands. And then there are other things that could happen, right? So maybe you're tilted off keter a little bit this way, or maybe this way. So then you'll want to have a fairly wide and solid base so that when you're going this way, you can press in with this hand, this part of your hand, and also this hand also, pressing against that way to resist that movement. Same with going this way. I'm using my hands, my fingers, my palm to resist and press that movement. Press against and resist that movement. So our first drill is a slow side cartwheel. If you have trouble kicking into your handstand and getting that stack, like maybe you always find your shoulders and your hips are just slightly behind your hands and it's pulling you back, then maybe try a cartwheel instead, because you might be able to get your shoulders and your hips stacked up better, and so then you're already centered nicely, and then you can then start to feel out that push-pull feeling in your hands. So let's go over what that'll look like. And as you work on those, you just want to slow it down more and more. The trick to hitting the handstand from the cartwheel is to really straddle your legs. So let your following leg sort of like hang back and use that to counter the momentum of your cartwheel. So I might think of like squeezing my glutes also to really push it down. When you're entering the handstand from a cartwheel, you might just want to think of stalling the cartwheel more than really doing the handstand. And as you slow that down, then you'll actually hit a handstand, and then you can straighten it out if you wanted to. Fun little side thing. From the entry from the side, you can actually start working on sidewalks. This next drill is called the ape walk. It's very similar to the cartwheel, where you're kind of traveling sideways, but instead of starting up high, you're going to start down low, and you're going to basically kick your outside leg up first, and then have that come down. You start with your legs bent, and as that gets more comfortable, you can start to straighten your legs out. So, ape-ish position. Putting my hands on the outside, I'm going to kick up with the far leg first, and land with it. You might at first kick really hard and just try to land. That's fine. As you get more comfortable with it, try to really slow it down and find a moment of float in your ape walk, right? So then you actually have that moment of having your hands stacked over, your shoulders stacked over your hands, your hips are gonna be stacked over your shoulders, and you'll actually be balancing for a brief moment, and then you can bring it back down. Our next drill will double as a way to train your handstands and also a bit of your bridge. So thinking about where I had trouble with my handstands is that I was afraid to really push my shoulders past that point, or push my shoulders far enough because I didn't feel that I had the strength or the dexterity, I guess, in my hands and wrists to be able to fight against going too far. So we're just going to put ourselves in that position of being too far in that full extended position by using a block. So you can do this against the wall. Just make sure you're far out enough or grab some kind of elevated surface. Get into your bridge and press up. Now, over here, you can see my hands and shoulders already in a very push-up-like position. And from here, I'm going to be basically practicing working on my wrist extensors and also wrist flexors. So I'm gripping the floor and I'm pulling, actively thinking about pulling that string, pulling my wrist forward and then pushing away. Pulling them in and pushing away. I'm not using my feet or my hips or my glutes at all to pull, it's all in my wrist. So pull in and push away. Pull in and push away. The last drill for working your handstands is one that we've actually seen before, and that is the chest roll. So just a quick review, this is what the chest roll looks like. You're gonna kick up and come down. The reason the chest roll is a really good drill for working on your handstands is that in order to slow down your chest roll, you have to push your shoulders past your hands. Otherwise, you're gonna end up kerplopping too much because most of your weight is gonna be behind your hand. But if you are thinking of pushing past your shoulders, then you're putting more of your weight above your hands so that you can slow down the chest roll. And then that directly correlates to the same kind of resistance you would be doing if you, say, kicked your handstand a little too far. So my last drill for handstands, which isn't really a drill, is more of a tip, is to try different handstand shapes. So instead of practicing for that pencil handstand, maybe try a pinwheel, try a split, try a scorpion position. And the reason I'm recommending this is that the pencil is actually probably one of the hardest shapes to do in a handstand. You must be perfectly lined up and you have to have really good control in your wrists and your hands. On the other hand, if you're doing a different shape, you can actually move your body a little bit to change where your center of gravity is, and it's not all in your hands that way. So what do I mean by that? For example, going back to where I usually have issues, that I might not kick up high enough. And so my hands and my my shoulders and my hips and hands aren't stacked quite right. What I could do is maybe arch a little at my back, or maybe bend my knees a little bit, and then that'll pull my body over a little more and center me a little better. So that's it for these unconventional handstand drills. I hope they help you in the same way that they helped me. Let me know in the comments what else you've done to practice your handstands. And if you enjoyed this video, Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all later. Bye.